Welcome to the Music Challenge Podcast. This is Andrew, and I'm sitting here with my compadres, and that's Rob.
Hey, guys.
And hey, Kevin. Hey.
Hi, everybody.
Up,
hey. How's it going?
What's up?
A little impromptu action. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty hot and wet over here. So it's been going on, Jed.
I got a COVID test yesterday that just came back negative.
Did you get one of those new anal ones?
Yep. It was a suppository.
Accurate.
That was a little disturbing.
And then
COVID testing.
No, I had to go to Walgreens.
My daughter had a tiny little her stomach just didn't feel good for a couple days.
I thought it was in the throat, Daddy.
We finally told her that she could stay home from not go to online school. And so we had to fucking call her in, and they're like, okay, well, you have now submitted a COVID designated thing. 'Cause it can literally be anything in anyone. And they're like, so you have to quarantine for the next 10 to 14 days, depending on the first time you notice the symptom in her. And we were like, well, if we get a test, can we not do that? And she was like, yeah, you just send it to me. So we went and got COVID.
Quarantine. She's doing quarantine, but she's doing,
but they're trying to tone things down. So now that she's been registered, we have to sign all these papers confirming that you've quarantined her, to go back to if they go back to school ever. So it's they have the process in place for if they were doing a in school system that they're still sticking to, and it's a giant pain in the ass, essentially.
I got you.
So yeah, that's what's been.
So that's what Jed's been up to.
Went to a wedding.
Sure.
Other than that.
Oh yeah, that's right. You went to a wedding.
I did not wear a tux. I was not part of the wedding party, thank God. But it was very cold outside during dinner. I did wear a suit. My daughter said I now have to wear a suit all the time because I have no style.
Wow.
It's kind of exciting.
No, Jed, I've commented. I like your style.
She doesn't. I mean,
I've said that before.
Tell the 7-year-old.
She
was dissing me
I got
hard on it. You just have no style. You should always wear these clothes. So yeah, I'll shut up. That's what's been going on with me. How about you? What's been going on with you, Andrew?
Well, I started a soccer career, actually. Yeah.
Quick recovery from
my leg feels great from the massive infection that I got about 6 weeks ago.
Dude, that freaked me out, but I'm glad you're on the mend.
I'm on the mend.
That did not look good even weeks after when I saw you. It was a little jarring.
Yeah. It's been in a compression wrap for a month now. So
right on.
I've not had the benefit of a shower for quite some time now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, it's all good. I don't smell.
I screwed myself up on my one wheel riding device once and cut the back of my ankle pretty bad while I was camping in the middle of nowhere, and had the same thing, Drew, I went to the doctor 2 days later, and he's like, it'd take 25, 30 stitches of clothes, but I can't stitch it up. I'm like, what? And he's like, dude, it'll get infected. What am I going to do? And he goes, you're going to take massive antibiotics and go to the wound clinic at Central DuPage Hospital, dude. And that was when it started really healing. But I took a shower with my foot on the side of the bathtub for fucking 8 weeks, dude. It sucked. I know the feeling, Drew. It blows. When I could finally wash that foot, I think I sat down in the shower and just fucking scrubbed it.
What are you fucking doing?
Can we have a GIF of that? We need to have a GIF of him doing that thing.
I think it can be arranged, actually.
That's what I was thinking of.
Gross.
It gets the skin off.
It puts the lotion on its skin.
Oh, man. Well, I'm looking forward to that day. That's now that we're talking about me. So I hope, I kind of feel like I should edit out 75% of this already.
No, let's roll with it.
But here we are.
Kevin.
Just in case, welcome to the music.
Kevin.
Jesus Christ, my fucking boring life, man. I work from home like 4 days a week. I go to a fucking hospital 1 day a week and try to hope people don't catch COVID. And, my life boring in comparison to you guys.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it.
Massive leg wounds.
Whew. Yeah. So I'm just trying to manage chaos because it's
what about Kevin, you go to a hospital once a week. Do you have to get tested like once a week or something or no?
Annually?
I haven't gotten a single COVID test. I don't feel like I've needed to. I basically go to my office to kind of do shit. Like today, I kind of walked around the hospital quite a bit. I don't know. I had to get signatures on shit from people. Like I supervise 25 people and they're scattered all over the place throughout the hospital, through 8 or 9 different programs. And so I got to do their performance reviews once a year and they get bonuses and shit like that. And so I got to get their paperwork signature. Otherwise, sometimes I can get it digital. Sometimes I need it just written down. It's easier, that sort of thing. So the past couple of days I'd been on site to get the signatures and I did the meeting over video conference and then I would just kind of meet them, socially distant, give them a package, let them sign 4 different places and be done with it basically. So that's pretty much, but my boss said to me the other day, basically, if when the weather starts to get shitty, if I'm not there for 3 or 4 weeks on end, he's not really going to.
I think that's how it's going to be with us at work this winter too, because we're going to be slow. And if we get a bunch of snow, you need a person there or something, I'll be that guy sometimes, but not all the time.
Yeah. I just applied for a promotion too, and it's 100% virtual if I get it. So if that happens, I can just fucking sit at home and fuck having an office. Right now, I am already going to downsize and share an office with someone and basically just plan to be there 1 or 2 days a week as it stands. But like I said, with my boss being the way he is about it, he doesn't even see me when I'm there anyway. I'm only there to do what I can't do at home.
That's cool.
I can do 99% of that. So I have a pretty good setup as it is, even if I don't get a promotion.
Right on.
We'll see.
Sending good thoughts.
Yeah.
So
Drew, thank you.
So Drew, what are we talking about tonight?
Tonight we're gonna, what we're doing here is we're a little rain delay theater. We sometimes we need to have a produced episode on the ready and on the go, and this is one of those types of episodes. So we're kind of reverting back to our formative album stage, which was kind of our first season. But people keep giving us formative albums and stuff like that. It seems to be, a theme that's following us around. And so what we're going to do is we're going to pick the formative album for most all of us. And so we're going to do Led Zeppelin IV tonight.
Dun, dun, dun. We'll let you kind of digest that because we know you're all familiar. But we're going to talk about our experience and just have conversation about the album.
Yeah. So, Black Dog is the opener. And that's just how we're going to open this conversation.
So just a driving rock and roll boogie that just, and I'm going to say this is going to be a theme tonight, folks. Think of the first 3 songs on every Zeppelin album and how absolutely fantastic. I mean, crap, there shouldn't be another.
So what are the first 3 on this one?
So
Actually,
the
first three, yeah. Rock and Roll is a pretty damn good tune, I thought.
God damn, it's called Rock and Roll, for Christ's sake. And then the Battle of Evermore.
It's old time rock and roll. That's the good.
Right.
That's the cool thing about it. It could be 50s rock and roll.
I love the Battle
Absolutely.
of Evermore. Like I have always thought, even when I was like a little kid, it was like just like that little like fairy dance that's like
beautiful, almost
so
like haunting.
beautiful and just stringy and lovely.
Yeah,
I'm in a band with a mandolin player, and I wish the hell out.
Oh yeah, that would be so good for the band. Oh man, I bet you could sell them on that too.
Have you guys ever heard the Love Mongers version of the Battle of Evermore, which is basically Ann and Nancy Wilson from Heart and a few other people? It's really, really cool. But that tune, the Battle of Evermore, which is ironic, is the only song that Led Zeppelin used a guest singer on, and it was a lady named Sandra Denny. She was in a pretty popular like folk band from London, and that's like the female voice you hear on it, which is, I don't know. I always think that's interesting, but that's the only tune that they ever recorded that had somebody that wasn't in the band like singing on the record.
Queen of Light took her bow, and then she turned to gold. The Prince of Peace embraced the gloom and walked the night alone. Dancing in the dark the night, seem to more. Dark Lord rides in force tonight, and time will tell us all.
I think all of us that got into this album got into it one of two ways, right? Either by like vinyl or cassette, like of a certain age, right? Where you had two sides of four.
On this particular
the thing that I think about on this album, right, is like, right, this album, you got these three great songs that lead up to Stairway to Heaven. And then you got another three great songs that lead up to When the Levee Breaks. And so like, it's such an amazing album in that way. And, you know, to think that Stairway to Heaven is a lot of people, it's not even it's not even a favorite song of everyone. I
mean, I'm not particularly, I don't have a heavy affection for Stairway to Heaven. I mean, I think it's a good song. And I think it's probably their signature song because Rob, just hold on a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know you're just gushing all over the mic, and I need. It's a perfectly built up song, but I can say it's not my favorite on the album. I mean, When the Levee Breaks is my favorite on the album for sure. We'll get to that, but I mean, you know, Battle of Evermore, that is a pretty cool song. You know, I don't know why I just went back to that. I mean, you know, Stairway to Heaven is an off-covered song. Like Heart used to do a big cover of it, or Nancy Wilson anyway.
Not to mention, like I was going to say, it's played so many damn times. Obviously, if we never heard it again, we'd still have it in our heads. Like that is there forever. But in my first copy of Led Zeppelin IV was a recorded copy on a TDK metal cassette tape.
Ooh, metal.
Yeah.
Essays.
And I would listen to it on my boombox, but my friend's older brother, I was going to say burned it, but recorded it for me off of vinyl. And it was cool because he gave me the whole thing. He wrote the songs, side A, side B, right? And then hand drew the four emblems that they had on the cover.
So.
Yes, exactly. All those in the feather. And it was on, and then he drew it on the piece of paper on top of the tape, the actual cassette. He Led Zeppelin and then drew the emblems. And I had that tape. God, I would love to have that tape back. I would love to have that tape back and listen to it on a Walkman. Because that was my first exposure to Zeppelin.
I've got a couple of mixtapes. I'd
love that. You need to take a second there, dude. You're fighting something there.
He just can't help himself, Drew. I mean, it's like he's been waiting for this episode A season and a half. Are you kidding?
God, let's do Zeppelin.
I've been waiting for this episode all my life.
Oh, Cole Medina.
Maybe it'll be a little like 3-part series. You know, little side project.
Well, we can get plenty of tracks now, Zeppelin, the same way we can get out of Pink Floyd. So, I mean, that can get popped up any fucking time. Yeah. So what I didn't want to do in this episode, and this will be edited out, is exhaust all of our Zeppelin opportunities for later.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
Right.
You know, like make it some sort of catch-all, and then it'll seem like that we're backtracking if we decide that we want to do a physical graffiti episode for another Rain Delay Theater or something like that.
Sure.
So, getting back to what was Rob?
So I was talking about my first exposure to this record, and my friend's older brother who recorded it for me and made this sweet like recorded copy with art and stuff on it.
Yeah.
He had left
that tape.
He had left his Walkman at my house, and that was in his Walkman, and I listened to it until the batteries died, and I replaced the batteries. I'm like, what? You know, you have to make me a copy of that album. I couldn't believe it. I remember the second I put it on and exactly where I was, and like just it opened up an unbelievable world to me because I didn't understand why everybody had loved Led Zeppelin. Then I sat down and listened to it on headphones, and I was like, okay, now I get it, you know. And that was 6th grade, maybe, that went down.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
early
cool.
inspiration.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then it was almost, what about you, Drew? What's your, so your early exposure with Zeppelin was another record, but at what point did you discover this album as like an album? You know what I'm saying?
Geez, you know, I told someone earlier today that like Zeppelin was my second musical love affair.
Okay.
The first being the Beatles.
Got you.
You know, a good place to start for just about anyone.
That's a pretty good pedigree, fella.
And then I moved on to Zeppelin, and because my brother had virtually every album, but like,
good man.
But the thing is, somehow Ford fell to like maybe the 5th album I heard.
Okay.
I don't really know how that happened. Perhaps he did not. I think he bought it once, and it had a scratch on it on the vinyl.
So it was defective from Kmart somehow.
Yeah, I had to take it back.
Man, Kmart got all your music business and your brother's music business as a kid. Huh?
Yeah. Well, the thing, my dad would go there once a week with a list. You know, like, I need circus peanuts. I need duct tape. I need a box of condoms. I need
and a copy of Zeppelin IV.
Yeah. The clerk of the counter just spits his cigarette out, says, have a good time. And some napkins and whatever else.
Sure.
And so we ended up at Kmart about once a week, depending on what locale we lived in. And yes, they got some Zeppelin trafficking from us.
Sure.
And the albums were fairly cheap. I remember the sticker on Zeppelin IV said, I believe, $4.99 or
that's amazing.
Right.
So you would save your grass cutting money or whatever else, and you go buy a copy of Zeppelin IV. How about you, Kevin? What's your story with Zeppelin IV?
I really got into Zeppelin because of the early high school friends and their older brothers who really loved them. And because they loved them, it just kind of made me try to figure out what they loved about them. And then hearing a song like Stairway to Heaven on the radio for the first time in that
good fucking solo for sure.
Like the way that it rips, it really, really, really etched something into my brain at that time. And so I had to have that album. I just had to be able to go back to that song and keep hearing that over and over and over again. And so I think I just begged my mom to take me to Adventure. Probably.
Who was Kmart?
My brother.
It was Kmart.
That story back in the day.
It was Kmart's competition.
Right? It was Rival.
Yeah.
Target. They were kind of across the street. Yeah. They were Yeah, they were. There was no Target back then. It was
Venture or
basically,
Kmart.
There is no town that has a
Kmart.
There was
Target and
wait.
Venture.
Hey, we're leaving one out.
Yeah.
We're leaving one out, and that was Zare.
Oh yeah, wait a there.
Right?
Yeah,
The
there was Zare too, but yeah,
Get
was.
to the
You
Zare.
had to drive out of the way to get to it, so it never won for us. Yeah, but basically, so I had the cassette, and so that's
Right.
why I remember the two sides so well, because the two ending songs of both of those sides are the best two songs on
Absolutely.
the album, at least as far as length goes, as far as the guitar solos go, and I have to
Dude,
put
the jam on that is amazing.
Forced it.
Just
Great.
right? Like, I mean, when you think about just how hardcore that song is, and the fact that he's playing with 4 drumsticks. It's amazing stuff.
And going, how
I
about
love
going to
that
California?
song.
You mentioned the last two songs. Going to California,
Inspired by
probably
Joni Mitchell.
one, yes, and they there's a
Yes.
line in that tune, and I'll think of it, with love in her eyes and flowers in her. It was, oh man, that's not the line. But anyways,
Going to California on a big jet plane. Don't let anyone tell you that they are all the same.
so yeah, so that might be one of the finest,
This is
like
fucking
rock.
stupid.
That might be one of the finest rock folk tunes ever written. I mean, I think it's
Yes.
The album
so
flows
absolutely
really
so
well.
Yeah,
good.
coming back to it,
songs.
you know, from like, I grew up with Zeppelin just always being on, like, in my brother's garage, you know, like would come over there and he's working on his car, and like, and so I learned
That's
Zeppelin
awesome.
like kind of non-linearly, like album to album. It was just like we were doing other things and he was just playing whatever. And that was how a lot of music came up.
And
Yeah,
you
it was just like
randomly-
totally, it was almost like listening on a mixtape, because I was there like intermittently and whatever, just hanging out. And then you like when you go back and like, you know, I listened, like got into it, like the catalog in high school, like as most kids do. I don't think it jives with like children. I guess 6th grade would probably be like the earliest I could see being into it for me. I don't know. Like, there was something about,
I don't know if it's
not
a kid's
like
album. I
Led
never
Zeppelin's
thought of
not
it
really
that,
kids music. Like Beatles is great kid intro.
It's hardly adults.
But then
music.
there's just like suddenly this change where it's like the growl. It's just like Black Sabbath, or, you know, there's certain things that like click.
Well, I
out
mean, Led
suddenly.
Zeppelin is not known for their, like, you know, catchy hooks. I mean,
No, but
you know
now
what I mean?
listening to it, it's all catchy hooks for me.
Not pop music, dude.
Well, and it's not pop music, but
No, that's the thing.
How about catchy riffs, if you will? I mean, he's got a glut of those.
Yes, but it's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm talking about, you know, the hooks that, you know, once you hear it, it gets caught in your head, and then, because their hooks are far more complex than most hooks, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Where, like, you know, it's hard to, I mean, like Four Sticks is a song that is, I mean, it gets caught in your head because it's stuck in your head, except for the fucking jam on it. But the whole, I mean, that is teeth rattling to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not a pleasant sound, but the thing is, it gives away to that fucking jam, which is just a palatial. I mean, you know, the whole ding, 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 ding.
And Kevin, your mention of, or whose mention was like 3-song build up to like the,
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think it's just
like
perfect.
the pinnacle with same thing like Misty Mountain Hop.
Walking in the park just the other day, baby. What do you think I
unbelievable second side tune. I mean, there's no
perfect song for like the start of the side. You flip the tape. I grew up on tapes. You flip the tape, you flip the album, and like it's just this like rise. It's just this constant graph going.
It really kind of surprised they didn't put When the Levee Breaks and somewhat more of it, unless they just wanted some people to listen to the whole
that's a
album.
Monster. That's a monster tune. But Jed, it warms my heart that you are old enough to have collected tapes, because that was just an amazing format. It had some
pretty non-destructible.
And there was like a process to it.
Yeah.
Like there was an album, whereas the CD got super simple, where you just hit a button.
Yeah, it was a little more DIY, like from from burning mixtapes to like knowing how long to rewind. Like sitting on your Walkman and wanting to listen to the same song over and over again, and having to sit through knowing that like
totally
2 seconds will get me this far, and like timing it,
or the tape counter, which signified nothing.
Right.
From 999 to 0.
Right. So it would make you think like, all right, am I going to fast forward to this, or am I going to listen to it? But then I think it also forced artists at the time, right, to write album rock that you didn't need to fast forward or rewind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you think that's the case?
True. I think as time went.
When you think about, the thing about this album too, if you think about there were a few songs that they ended up throwing on Physical Graffiti that they recorded during this time. And if you think like Down by the Seaside could have been on this album.
Man, I love that too.
Wow. Like it sounds like an actual jam band song.
Absolutely.
Nowadays with those changes. Amazing. Yeah. But I think that they did have to kind of write to the format, like you said. And I think they built up each side of this album.
Stairway to Heaven was actually the biggest FM hit.
I think you're right.
No, they didn't.
And they never released it as a single, did they?
Yeah.
And you can understand that's their magnum opus. I mean, it is, for Fix, it's You Enjoy Myself. For the Grateful Dead, it's something else.
Drew, I don't mean to interrupt you real quick, but like 3, 2, 1, your mic sounds weird for a second.
My mic sounds weird.
There you go.
It's just probably because I got away from it.
Got it.
So in any case,
what would you say is the Dead's? True. Now that you
the Dead's magnum opus,
it got me spinning.
I don't know. Maybe
like, cool. Probably Terrapin.
Yes, that's a very good
Terrapin.
One. That's very. Yep, I think you hit it right there. As far as like sequential parts that come one after the other, I think you nailed it.
Hey, speaking of the Dead and Fish, have you guys heard all the Dead and Fish they've been playing in and out of commercials on the World Stage?
Yes. They played like 3 Fish songs the other night.
That's incredible.
There's one guy in there that's
West LA.
Oh yeah,
I know there is for NFL.
I
film.
follow.
It's awesome that he's being able to work.
His name
he can work more in, because like it started a couple of years ago, but it was only one thing.
Yeah, and
now it's every interstitial is every single one. Yeah. It's Fish or Dead.
Exactly. He did Stash into one commercial on the football game tonight, and then right after that, he did "Ain't Life Grand" by Panic. I was like, "This dude's
I followed that guy for a long time. He worked for NFL Films for a long time. So I mean, guy liked to put that Wilson in for Russell Wilson. He kind of started that.
He's J Jolly 74. At J Jolly 74. He's an awesome guy to follow.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to text. Like when it's like, is anyone else watching the World Series?
Right. It's really cool.
My butt.
There's somebody who made this cool montage too with Steal Your Face and like all the ins and outs, and he posted it on his page, and they're all in a circle. It's really cool. The dude's obviously huge into jam bands, which just warms my heart. And like, Jennifer's sitting there watching a baseball game. Plus, then she hears fish coming out into the commercial. I was like, yes,
She hates
it's
it, man.
hysterical. It's hysterical.
His wife does not like fish for anyone.
No, not at all.
So in any case, why don't we take a break here on the Music Challenge podcast, and we can save any conversation for after the break. Rob, I'll let you do the honors. What are we going into here?
Let's go into When the Levee Breaks.
All right, that's the last time we discussed When the Levee Breaks. You should know this is John Paul Jones playing at the bottom of a stairwell to get that massive freaking drum sound.
Yeah, and I think you meant John Bonham.
That's what I meant. Actually, I think John Paul Jones is on drums on this one. I'm kidding. No, John Bonham. Yes. Thank you very much. John Bonham was at the bottom of a stairwell to get this massive ocean beat.
And Robert Plant was drinking tea in the garden.
So, in any case, all right, let's go into, we're going to go out on When the Levee Breaks, and we'll talk to you in a few.
See you in a few.
Bye.
Remember, everyone, we want you to submit your Formative 4. Tell us the musical seeds that set you on your path, and we might review one of your albums right here on the air. You can get on our blog at musicchallenge.fireside.fm or email us at musicchallengepod@gmail.com. Also, you can slip into our DMs at musicchallengepod on Instagram.
Come as close to 4 as you can, but if you need more or less, that's all right too. Remember, musicchallengepod@gmail.com, and you could hear us discuss one of your albums.
And we are back on the Music Challenge podcast. We just came out with Rhymin' and Stealin', which it's not a Beastie Boys song, or it is a Beastie Boys song. It's not a Led Zeppelin song. Rob, tell us why we're listening to that.
But it samples the hell out of When the Levee Breaks, and it's a great version to me. A great song, like turned into another song, which that album, of course, as you all know, was formative to me because it was one of my formative 4. But
yeah,
so that's why we played it.
What's the reach of that album?
I think it speaks to the fact that for a large swath of people, you know, for that album to come out, 15 years, 10, 15 years, or roughly 15 years after Led Zeppelin IV, to the first track on the first Beastie Boys album, the entire song is John Bonham's drum beat. It just speaks to the fact that you know something's up. And I listened to them back to back again, and the Beastie Boys version, it's like amplified. It's to think that you could amplify Led Zeppelin's version. You know, they put the record scratch in it. They kind of turn up the bass. They punch it.
They punch
in a way that is kind of like, holy crap. This band started so much cool, you know, and this album was in some ways a pinnacle of it, only in that it had their you know, the representative song, the pinnacle song in Stairway, but you know, everything else, like we've talked about, has been, you know, so incredible.
And it also points to the fact that Led Zeppelin, who, if I haven't said this, I'm going to say it now, is the greatest rock and roll band ever, but that they were like multi-generational. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like the next generation then picks up and is like, this is amazing.
It stands the test of time.
Absolutely.
I mean,
it's timeless.
Kids still pick it up as like, this is one of the basic tones of rock and roll that, you know.
Well, and kids are still listening to it today, you know, like it is, you know,
kind of what I mean. Yeah.
A ton of music is just almost a replicant of Led Zeppelin. Well, and,
like,
you know,
yeah,
absolutely.
And Led Zeppelin
Some
itself is a
others.
replicant of, you know, of it. Well, and this mishmash of a lot
Delta
of different
blues.
Kinds of things, right? Blues and rock and like.
Oh yeah. You're right. You're
like
right.
Just a lot
Folk
of it, a lot of different
right.
influences, and they're not a monolith in that way. And they mishmashed and they, you know, they got sued for copyright stuff and stealing from other artists, whether or not it's even relevant, whatever. But I guess I say that to say
but art is a representation.
They picked up a lot of
that came before
influences,
you,
and they were the masters of that in a way that they were able to synthesize all these influences into this great blues rock and roll that transcended. I mean, right?
Genre jumping, ferocious, right? I mean, like if
8-headed Hydra on stage.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. They can go anywhere with their music.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
You know, like I mentioned, Into the Outdoor was kind of my that was my introduction to Led Zeppelin, which is a really weird one to have as your introduction because that's known as John Paul Jones' album,
right?
But it's also got two of the longest Led Zeppelin songs in existence. I think Carousel Alhambra and
is a great tune.
It's an incredible song. It's the John Paul Jones. You know, I don't want to throw the word magnum opus around so much, but yeah, it's definitely his masterpiece.
Right. And I think, obviously it's keys heavy and just a different Zeppelin album, but that was the thing about Zeppelin. And I don't want to cover too much in this whole catalog, but pretty much everything they released on like anything they released from the studio was.
I had to look up the track
beautiful.
list on that album, and I remember driving around as a kid with All of My Love being on the radio as a hit, and not understanding it was Zeppelin at the time, and then only going back later as a teenager, kind of rediscovering some of that stuff, going, oh my God, that was them. Like, you know, they were the, you know, that was an FM radio hit in like 1979-ish, right, Andrew? Sound about right? Sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Sounds like something here in the backseat of the car. I'll tell you.
The El Torino.
That's what I imagined too, the backseat of the car.
The El Torino.
My mom had a Thunderbird.
We had a Gremlin.
In 79.
Ooh, those were dope. We had a Gremlin.
Hell yeah.
Did it have the blue? Did it have
red?
Did it have the denim?
It was red.
Did it have denim seats?
Like denim, a pleather kind
denim
of deal.
seats.
Did it have a vinyl?
Like a vinyl. There you go. Vinyl. Yeah.
Ultra suede.
Better. And I think it got flipped on the hood. Like it did like a 360. Like it flipped. Yeah, no. But the thing was built like a Sherman tank. It was made of iron. Like it was AMC, and they made like it was made
AMC
of American
Gremlin,
made
dude.
like Milwaukee or something, and it was built like a Sherman tank. And I think my dad was driving to one of those toll plazas on an icy day and like flipped it over again, and it was all good, and you know, just had some dents on the. Wow, I don't know about that.
He just called a couple truckers over.
He made it through.
Put this thing over with me.
You know, he's around, so
turn it out.
Survived it. I think that car
superhuman
is
strength.
Superhuman strength is to say the least.
I want to resto mod a Gremlin now.
There's gotta be one. Someone has done it.
Wayne or Garth?
Bondo.
I'm sure they have.
Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah, with the Twizzlers dispenser,
purple, right?
Just
And the
classic.
Pacer. Was it Gremlin?
Hey, coach, I dig the Pacer. Hey, you play your cards right. One day you can have one too. What's that from?
Dazed and Confused.
No. John, I think it's called Johnny Be Good with Anthony Michael Hall, where he's that quarterback.
Oh yeah.
That's a reach for me.
Hey, coach, you dig the Pacer.
Deep cut.
It's a reach for everyone, Judge.
It's a classic.
Right on. So, did anyone else actually have this on vinyl?
I do now, but I didn't then.
Cassette.
Right.
I just had my cassette tape.
Oh, Rob just lost the video wise.
there you go. Yeah,
I should be back here.
There we are now.
But my battery, for whatever reason, is running extraordinarily low.
No, I only had Song Remains the Same, weirdly, on vinyl. Isn't it? Yeah. Isn't that wild? I think I got it at Rolling Stone on sale or in the bargain bin or something like that. But yeah,
nice.
The big Gatewood fold.
I love that record.
Beautiful pictures and stuff. It was a cool album. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, no, I never had 4 on vinyl though, but I could see the appeal.
I got an original issue, Song Remains the Same, for Christmas a couple years ago on vinyl. And
What's the original issue mean?
Like it was the one that Kevin had, probably. Like it was from back then.
Oh. Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Geez, anyone have anything else?
No.
All right. That's cool.
There's only so many things to talk about these days, I guess.
I guess so. I guess we're not that used to it. All right. Well, that wraps it up for another episode of the Music Challenge podcast. Once again, this was rain delay material. This is probably you're hearing this as opposed to hearing nothing. So
Just us saying hey. Just us saying hey.
we're just saying hi.
What's up?
Just saying hi. We talked about an album. It's good. It's good. Chugging some wine there, so like Humphreys. So in any case, this does once again wrap it up for the Music Challenge podcast. Kevin,
Happy vibes, everyone. Take care. Hope the musical pathways find you well.
Right on. Good.
When's this coming out? Soon?
Probably after Christmas.
Oh, never.
I don't know. No, it's not coming out soon. It's coming out.
Oh, because I was gonna say go vote because it's coming up.
Don't go vote
now. It's way cold outside.
I don't think I'll have it.
Probably not going to do much for you.
Biden,
get in the vaccination line.
Biden's our president now.
Get in the vaccination line.
Saying that to myself.
Yes, by now there's a vaccine out. So
wasn't that supposed to happen like months ago?
That's irresponsible.
Some guy was saying that.
Yeah. So
in the long and short of it is go listen to Zeppelin 4.
Go listen to Zeppelin 4. I actually took a spin tonight for the first time in.
Get the lead out, right?
Truth.
Get the lead out, people.
Hell yeah. It's timeless, folks. It doesn't get old.
It's not the first one I go for.
I do almost every day listen to Zeppelin.
Seriously? Every day you listen to Zeppelin?
Well, because it's on the radio.
Pretty damn close. Well, but I mean, I'll put on
anything, or is it your go-to, or is it just in your like dailies that you listen to?
And
your monthlies.
And it's funny too because an album that I've been going back to most often recently is Presence. God, I love that fucking record.
Oh yeah, it's good.
It's so good.
It's good. It's got a lot of good shit. Nobody's Fault But Mine. A Kid's Last Stand.
Absolutely.
Just a fucking gem.
Royal Orleans, dude. That tune is awesome.
I can't say as if I can pull that one out of my head.
I'd know
them all if I heard them. Any case. So I guess that wraps it up.
See y'all.
What I mean. See y'all later and take it easy. We just once again, if you're hearing this, it's better than hearing nothing. So we'll talk to you later. Goodbye.
You really sold it.
3, 2